DJ.
Howdy.
Remy disappeared.
Figures.
I thought you took him off because he was talking smack. Oh, there you go.
I was switching my seating place.
Nah, man, we are here, man. We are live. I'm really excited, man. I'm really excited about tonight. We're actually going to get together and review Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire. So let's go ahead and get started, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Sci-Fi Nerds. I am one of your hosts. I am Donald.
I'm Remy.
Remy!
Serge.
DJ.
And we are the Sci-Fi Nerds. We dedicate this show tonight for the lovely Doris who could not be here. And we also dedicate this show to our brother Nick, who couldn't be here as well. So we definitely dedicate this to you all. Godzilla, Kong, the New Empire. And today we got two guests. One of our guests, he's been on multiple shows with us. So we greatly appreciate him for being here, man. He's a wonderful artist, big monster fan. And we're big on gratitude on this show. So we're grateful to be able to have him back. And we thank you for participating. So we're going to go ahead and bring in our first guest. We're going to bring in Kyle.
Hello.
Kyle, how you doing, brother?
Hello.
Oh my goodness. I haven't been here since you guys put me on Monster Island or something.
Oh man. Yeah, it was good. It was also good to have you for the -1 show as well. But no, we always enjoy you, man. We're glad that you can join us, and it's good to have you back. And then and we're ready to talk some Godzilla with you. And then also we got to bring in our second guest. He's been itching to get on here. We finally been able to link up and communicate with one another. He's the #1 Gamera fan in the world. Big monster, big monster.
Now he's not gonna show up.
Big monster fan. Man, he's a big supporter. So we definitely grateful for him for always checking out our content, voicing his opinion, even though it's wrong most of the time. But we're gonna bring in our man Gamma Ray. Trey, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for all the kind words.
Yeah, because we all know how much you love Gamera, Trey. Would you say he was better than Godzilla, if I remember correctly?
Oh yeah, he's the absolute greatest.
Yeah, big words, man. Big words to say. I would say that more, but, that's just
so.
me.
Before we get started, Trey, man, we got a few questions that we would love to ask you. So people who's watching, they get an opportunity and a chance to know you. Like I said, you've been, one of our biggest followers, which is an honor, man, because you're a really great guy, cool guy. And we love it every time you support us. But how did you become a monster fan? What got you into being a kaiju fan in the first place?
My parents, they grew up with it, and they always had some Godzilla VHS left over. And so from that point in my life, VHS, that's how old I am.
It's my first Godzilla movie too.
Don't worry, I had VHS too. I know what that is.
Me three.
Fire.
I understood that.
VCR.
Yeah, so they had them, and I picked them up. And from that point, I've been hooked on Godzilla from that point on. And then from Godzilla, it just turned to other monster movies. So point like, oh, okay, you got like a slight obsession with this. I'm like, yeah, these are awesome.
Yes, sir. Nah, man. And actually, it's a great time to be a monster fan because I mean, right now the genre is really moving. The genre is going. The genre is going. It's going strong. It's going really well. The second question I have for you: do you remember the first kaiju movie you ever watched?
Godzilla versus Gigan.
Ooh, that's not a bad start.
You guys are good one.
That was actually my first Japanese Godzilla movie I ever watched.
Really?
Yeah. I was scrolling around through all the VHSs that my parents gave me for Christmas, and I was like, you know what, let me watch Godzilla versus Gigan. And that was my first Japanese Godzilla movie I ever watched on VHS.
Nice.
Dude, that is awesome. And Trey, like I said, man, that's not a bad start at all. Start off with Godzilla and Gigan, because Gigan, He's actually one of my favorites. So I definitely would love to see him more in the future. And so I'm just curious to see if he does come back, how they would do him and how they would create him, how they would make him. That would definitely be awesome, not just for me, but I'm pretty sure for all the Godzilla fans. So with that being said, we're about to dive into our Godzilla and Kong, the new Empire conversation. And I'm really, really excited about this because it's been a lot of mixed reviews about the movie, but the movie's doing really, really well. I had the opportunity to view the film twice already, and I enjoyed it the second time better than I did the first time. So with that being said, guys, we're about to dive into this conversation, and we'll start with our guest first. Trey, we'll start with you, brother. What was your first initial thoughts after watching Godzilla and Kong for the first time?
Initial thoughts was, this is amazing. This is what I grew up with as a kid, but now we have it on a larger scale. You know, it's a lot better with the graphics, everything else. I'm like, this is what I was looking for from a Godzilla movie. Up to date, amazing, pure, just kaiju throwdown, everything happening in that movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree. I went with my mom, my boys, my wife was there, and my cousins were there. So I mean, I think that made it a lot more funner because you don't know what's going to happen on the big screen, and when you finally see something that happens on the big screen, everybody gets excited, everybody gets ramped up. So my first initial thoughts was like, man, that was a roller coaster ride. Like, I was like, all the action that we saw, especially in the final act, was really, really good. Kyle, I'll bring it to you. What was your first initial thoughts after watching Godzilla and Kong for the very first time?
I would, just like you said, it feels like a roller coaster ride. And basically, it feels more like a superhero movie than just a monster movie. Because it feels more like Kong and Godzilla are treated as like superheroes, which was really interesting and pretty good take on the movie.
Yes, sir. I agree with that. I agree with that a lot. Coming to you, Serge. Mr. Serge, what was your first initial thoughts after watching Godzilla and Kong for the first time?
Well, when it finished, my first thought was, it's already done. Damn, that was bad. Which to me is a good indication that I really, really enjoyed the movie. You know, when you go, well, I mean, what is the movie? It's almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, when a movie that long, you come to the end of it and you think, man, it's already been 2 hours? Snap. The good indication that I had a blast because, I think for most of us, we were just, when it ended, you were just excited, pumped, I could freaking go buy another ticket and just watch it again. But yeah, I mean, I just had a blast. I felt like a little kid. I felt like a little kid just coming out of a Godzilla movie from back in the day. It was a blast for me.
All right, DJ, we coming to you, brother. What was your first initial thoughts after watching Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire for the first time?
It was garbage. No,
It
was, I really enjoyed it.
I knew it.
No, it was a lot of fun to watch. I like the dynamic between Godzilla and Kong. Appreciate some of the stuff that they did. But I definitely have some thoughts about it, that it's more of a Kong movie than a Godzilla movie. So
yeah, it definitely has that feel and vibe. Remy, last but not least, brother, I'm coming to you. What was your first initial thoughts after watching Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire for the first time?
Well, my first initial thoughts for that, I was like, when I left the theater, I literally felt like I was coming off of a high. I was like, oh my God, this movie was insanity, but I love it because of that. Like, I thought that this movie encapsulated the general tone of a lot of the Showa films, especially like the earlier Showa films, like Astro Monster or Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster or Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, Godzilla vs. Gigan, especially Godzilla vs. Megalon. I thought that movie and this share a very close connection with each other. And I thought that like it was just generally, it was just a really fun movie. I do have some thoughts about the film that we'll get into later, but overall I really had a fun time with it.
Yeah, I had a really good time with it. I had a really good time with it as well. Like I said before, when we first came out of the theater, my cousins, they talked about it afterwards. They were still talking about it during the next day. And when I left, I actually had trouble actually ranking this film in the Monsterverse because this film is so shower-esque. It's kind of like I almost feel like it don't belong in the Monsterverse category, but it's just a good freaking monster film with a lot of action. So I actually had trouble, where to place this film. And so, but I mean, I had fun with it. It was great. The family had fun with it, and it was just an awesome movie. I'm with you, DJ. It was more of a Kong's tone, but I know this film was already in the making before Godzilla, and even Shimu was at it. So, but overall, when Godzilla was on the screen for me, he made a big impact, a big difference. He didn't care every time he was on screen. He just wanted to fight. So, his lack of screen time definitely made up for that, and that's what I was excited for. So that was my first initial thoughts when I walked out of the theater. Trey, I'm gonna come to you, brother, with this second question. What was some of your favorite and least moments from Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire?
Okay, one of my favorite moments is the very beginning of the movie, Kong ripping the one monster in half. I was hoping for, I'm like, okay, I know it's a certain rating, but I really want some monster gore in this too. Let's up the action this Godzilla taking out Tiamat, love that as well too. Him and Scylla, whatever his name is, just coming off back, and I loved all the action. I actually did enjoy the human characters as well too.
Okay.
I would love to see more of them, and I did miss Millie Bobby Brown. I thought she should have been in this movie also too, playing more of Godzilla's advocate for everything. So I guess that's a negative. Like, G is for Kong. Have her character represent God. We need someone to represent Godzilla also. Let's see, negatives. The ending fight. How it ended is a negative. It was because you can see Scar King, he's controlling Shimo the entire time with the crystal, and like
right.
It's like, okay, it's set up already. They want Shimo to have some type of, I want you to feel bad for her because she's being controlled the whole time. Right. Scar King's the only one who gets in the end, and then the happy family go away system. So that was disappointing to me. Let's see. There's a lot of times I think Godzilla hurts the film because it is more of a Kong movie. So I think if you had Godzilla made King Kong have to overcome everything by himself, it would have been a much better movie overall. Yeah, it's Godzilla's just, he shows up and he helps out, and Kong, because that's what it's a superhero movie too. Kong doesn't have as big as a struggle because he has Godzilla to help him. Right. And a positive too. Another positive is Mothra. I did enjoy having Mothra back. I love when she shows up and stops the fight. Godzilla's, my queen's here. Okay, here we go. This is good. Okay, let's. And then of course them going down to the Hollow Earth to do the fight. The meteor crashing, pop up. Got the Dragon Ball Z looking situation. Here we are. Boom, let's fight. And I'll say this is a Monsterverse in whole negative as well too. The trailers are a negative by this. You show too much. You need to find a way to hold back. Like in King of the Monsters, it'd have been nice not to have known Godzilla's going to go thermonuclear before the movie comes out, because it kind of gives an indication of what's going to happen. It'd been nice if y'all, little less Shimo, maybe a little more Scar King, but we didn't need to see Scar King get grabbed and thrown and Godzilla tail with him. You diminish how evil and how bad he's supposed to be, according to Adam Wingard. Like, oh, this is the toughest fight they're going to have. No, it's not. Not at all. Nowhere near close.
Until you bring in Destroyer, then I'll believe you.
Like I said, don't y'all dare tell me that Shimo is more powerful than King Ghidorah. Stop. King Ghidorah dropped Godzilla from upper atmosphere to the ground. No, not at all.
I will say this, Trey. Interesting point you made. Well, it's two interesting points you did make. Having somebody represent Godzilla, because usually he's kind of just a standalone Titan, which can be in a good way because Godzilla's all about his business. That's what he do. He shows up. He's really protecting balance, and he's making sure everything is chilled, everything is cool, and you can see the anger and rage when Kong comes up. And Kong, I think he made an alpha call, but it was by mistake. He didn't know what else to do, so that was the only way that he could reach Godzilla. And so, but having somebody like a Millie Bobby Brown who could kind of sense that she really had a liking to Godzilla, that would have been awesome. And then another thing you pointed out was how Godzilla hurt the film, potentially, because he did pop up every now and then here and there, and it definitely was a Kong movie. At times, I would agree with you. It felt like Godzilla was out of place. But the more and more I started looking at like the posters that was coming out, Godzilla was already more of a background character in those posters. Kong was already on the forefront, which I love Kong, by the way. I don't have an issue with Kong, but just for the advertisement, if you go look at any of those posters, Godzilla was always the secondary character.
They should name it KXG then. That's what they should have done. If that's
exactly. I literally said that yesterday.
Why was headliner, and then there's everybody else.
I will say a lot of some of my favorites that happened in this movie was definitely when Kong took Zuko and started beating the other apes with it. That was pretty cool. Yes. I enjoyed that a lot. And then me and my boys, we have this connection where we don't. It's certain things we don't take serious at all. But you brought up Tiamat, Trey, and when he was fighting Tiamat, and when Tiamat tried to wrap around Godzilla and Godzilla start charging up, my son just looked at me and bust out laughing. He knew it was over. Like, he knew it was a done deal. Once Tiamat did that, he messed up. But I think Godzilla, towards the end, he was kind of the MVP in a way, because he really showed off. I don't think because I'm conflicted about this. I don't know if the evolved form was needed because he wasn't in the movie like that. So, maybe a bigger and badder villain, I would like to see the evolved Godzilla, but I just don't know if he was needed for this particular film because he wasn't in this film as much. And like I said, I'm with you as well on the last act. I thought the last act was a little bit short. I thought the last act was a little bit short. It was fun. It was still cool, but I thought it was a little bit short. And I wanted to see Shimu and Scar King fight Godzilla and Kong just a little bit more, because we still don't really know what Shimu is made of or what she can do, because she really didn't display much. So
she should have been I wanted her to be, once that crystal got broken, turn into a beast, kill Scar King, and then have Godzilla and Kong literally have to jump her together now.
Oh, that's not a bad take. I like that. I like that, Trey. No, I like that. I like that. Kyle, what about you? What was some of your favorite and least moments from Godzilla and Kong, The New Empire?
Oh, boy. I have to say, one thing I really love the most is the relationship between Kong and this little Kong, Zuko. Everyone's going to say it reminded them of God of War, Kronos, and his son, which is totally what this film was trying to highlight, which is, I love the relationship between Kong and Zuko, because Zuko, he had like a really rough life because he was abused by Scar King throughout the entire movie. And it remind all the things that Zuko, like when I first saw him, I was like, oh, okay. Is he going to be like Manila or someone away? But no, Yeah, but I didn't see him going feisty, and I was like, I didn't like how they were like putting Zuko as like a fighting kid sort of character, but it was pretty interesting to see Kong and Zuko develop this father and son relationship throughout the entire movie, which was really nice. But that was like my most favorite is like the father and son relationship. Originally, it was going to be called Son of Kong, but they changed that to the New Empire, and that's when Wingard was like, you know what, let's just change it to the New Empire, and it almost feel like Star Wars sort of way, but that's what I really didn't like about it. It's like if you're calling it the New Empire, you just can't like just make it like sort of like the Planet of the Apes or something you take out of Star Wars. It just really doesn't work.
What was so? And you said your favorites was the relationship with Kong and Zuko, correct?
That is correct, because when Kong was like surprised, like he never really actually seen others like him, like since his parents were killed during in the comics, and you could see the like he's trying to be very, very slow, not trying to scare him, but when he bit him, it was like, you little shit. I was like, what? Okay. And then the next moment when he just starts swinging Zuko around like a rag doll, hitting all the other Scar King's men, I was like, boy, that is just child abuse.
Oh yeah, he was beating him. Man. Everybody in my theater laughed when he grabbed Zuko and just started slanging him, and he threw him at the other ape.
I was dying. My friends and I were all three of us were dying on that part.
That is
could
hilarious.
not control myself.
Dude, that is so hilarious.
Bad for Zuko. Like
No, I didn't.
I didn't feel bad.
I
Sorry.
was like, no.
Guilty.
you need to like, okay, act like an adult, not like a 5-year-old and biting people. Just like that's the way he is.
Oh my gosh. Sirs, I'm about to come to you. What were some of your favorite and least favorite moments in Godzilla and Kong the New Empire?
Well, I think like somebody said earlier is that during the movie and right after the movie, I mean, it was a blast. But once I got to thinking about things, then there wound up being a lot of questions or a lot of questionable things. And the main thing being the best and worst for me, Godzilla for me was the best of it, but he was also the worst of it. Trey, like you said, I think this, like you could have made this two movies because it felt like the ending could have been longer, and I felt like there was a lot left to be explained that could have made the movie, yes, longer, but better in the sense that some things just kind of come out of nowhere. Some things don't make much sense, or what have you. For me, I love seeing Godzilla just be a beast. So this movie did not disappoint with that. His fight with everybody is just amazing, but also too short for my taste. For Godzilla and Tiamat, and of course the ending, I would have loved to have seen. Well, number one, what kind of threw me off was how Godzilla, I guess, imprisoned Scar King in them, right? So you would have figured there'd be a little bit of a little bit of interaction between him and Scar King himself. Like, hey, it's me again, and being like,
good point.
It's you again, So it's like they're just treated as like acquaintances. I imprisoned you at some point in time, like a million years ago. It's fine. And so that me just felt off. And then as well as Shimu, to see Godzilla and Shimu fight some more, or to fight in such a way. Honestly, I was expecting, there was so much hype about Shimu being so big, but I don't recall a moment where she stood up on her hind legs to show how big she was in comparison to Godzilla, to get some sort of scale, to make it feel like there were some sort of stakes involved, because the last fight was just so quick, and then Godzilla's just like so powered already. I would have been happy if he would have stayed his like that middle supercharged blue version. Like I think Donald, you said, I don't think he really needed to have been the magenta Millennium style for this. I would have seen that. I would have preferred that to be in like the next movie for like a villains that feel like there's just a lot more at stake. Because I guess the other worst thing for me was just that the last fight was a little underwhelming. I mean, the zero gravity fight was fun. It was really, really fun, and I think that would be another one of my favorite things because it was just a crazy fight.
Yeah, it was insane.
It was ridiculous. I loved it. But then when they went up to Rio de Janeiro, it just felt like, it just lasted about 2 minutes, and we could have seen a little bit more, not a little bit more, like a lot more higher stakes. Not necessarily a better fight, just more of the fight, because it was a good fight, but just more would have been nice. I will add another thing. Last thing is that I did. Okay, two things. I'm sorry. I love seeing. I love seeing Godzilla be king of the monsters, keeping monsters in line, because that's what he was supposed to do. That was his story in King of the Monsters and in 2014. And we haven't seen that too much since then. So to see him go after Scylla, who's just kind of running amok, like that was awesome. I think he offed her a little too quick, but it was nice to see that and to have a little bit more depth to Godzilla. It would have been nice to have a little bit more depth to Godzilla than just Destroyer, sees red all the time, because that's not really how he was made out to be in 2014 and King of the Monsters. There's a bit more depth to him. In this, you can kind of tell, like, we just need to be Godzilla, powerful and kick ass in this movie. And although that was awesome to see, he's still my favorite character. So I would have liked to have seen more from him, because I think you can do more with him if you want to. My other favorite thing, and I'll make it quick, was characters. I actually like the characters, like in this movie.
Yeah, Bernie, my guy. Bernie, my favorite.
It was funny, man. Dude, Bernie and Trapper, like they were hilarious. But I will also throw this for the parents in the group and in the crowd, when it got towards the end and we were there with I forget her name, Dr. Andrews?
Gia and Dr. Andrews?
Yeah.
Yes. When she is there talking about, like, I need to do what's right by this girl, and I know I have to let her go if she needs to go. That was the part of the movie where I was thinking, oh my God, what's going on? Like, are my eyes getting warm as a parent? Like, this isn't supposed to happen in the Monsterverse. And but it did. And I give him props for that, because for me as a parent, I felt that. Like, I don't want to let my daughters go, I give them props for that, because I wasn't expecting there to be something on the human level that I could gel with.
No, that's cool, sir. That's a great answer. And another thing about Scylla, the reason that fight was so short, I don't know if any of you guys follow the books, but Scylla was already getting out of line a few times, and that fight was like her last warning. So Godzilla, like, okay, you know what? Since you just keep doing what you're doing, I'm just gonna have to put you in your place, and that's what he did. DJ, I'm coming to you, brother. What were some of your favorite and least moments from Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire?
He's getting ready.
He has a list.
He's charging.
I liked the just the fact that, you know, when we did get to see Godzilla, he was just down to business.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't any hesitation or confusion. He had a mission. You know, and everybody keeps talking about, you know, this powered up form and how it wasn't really needed. But you have to remember that as they're talking about the legend of his previous battle, he was almost killed.
That's a good point, DJ.
And so he knew, like, once that signal started coming through, he knew he needed an edge. And you know, he knew that he wasn't ready for it. And so, like, after he breaks out of that ice cocoon, they say that, like, they show the stats, and like his skin was like 20 or 30% more tougher, you know, denser. So, you know, because he knew that he was going up against the ice, you know, the ice creature, Shimu. And the last time that he fought her, he, like I said, he was severely wounded, according to the legend.
Right.
So, you know, and he didn't know he was going to have Kong on his side. You know,
That's true.
He was getting the emergency signal, and he's like, okay, I promised Mothra I would do this, so I'm going to do what I need to prepare. And that, you know, and that's what he did. You know, so we got to see the return of Godzilla, him going to a nuclear plant and absorbing all the energy there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then he found another source of energy, which was Tiamat and her den. So, you know, he was using his brains. You know, he wasn't just reacting. He was thinking things through, and he's like, okay, I'm going to have to fight these two on my own again. I need to prepare. So the fact that Kong, you know, said, hey, let's, you know, like, I want to team up, and Mothra's like, yeah, you guys need to team up, you know, that helped him, but, you know, he was ready to go toe-to-toe on his own. So
hey, DJ, look, you got me on that one, man. I don't have a problem laying down when I'm wrong or I don't think of something. I did not think of that. That's a really good point, brother.
Yeah.
Really good point, dude.
And, you know, I my opinion might be a little bit off on it, but I didn't miss Millie Bobby Brown in this one. I felt like that family storyline, you know, was pretty much wrapped up in the last one.
Yeah.
And again, this was more of a Kong movie, and Godzilla was there to show, like, okay, there's something else going on. He's got a plan. He's doing his thing to get prepared for it. And while Kong is, you know, exploring and finding, you know, that there are other apes out there. So yeah, I just didn't feel like she was, you know, I didn't miss her. So
when you brought that up, the reason that the Russell wasn't in, because they were very busy, and they were on a very busy production, so they really didn't have time to put Madison in the movie. So the Madisons got scrapped, in case everyone does not know.
Okay.
I don't know.
They were still planning to put them in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I mean, any other thoughts, DJ? Yeah, that's it.
No, so like I mentioned in the group chat before, I made the mistake of going to Spanish subtitled one, so I have no clue what the girl was saying, what Mia was saying the whole time. So I missed out on like all those conversations and stuff, other than when they were actually like verbalizing. So it was I didn't really get to see her like progression in the movie. You know, I mean, I got to see her actions and stuff, but I didn't understand what she was, you know, saying. So, you know, except for the couple words that I could make out in Spanish. So that was more of a personal, not, you know, dislike to the movie, not the movie itself. But
oh man, DJ. Remy, I'm coming to you, brother. What were some of your favorite and least favorite moments in Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire?
Well, I think my first favorite, I think one of the positives I can give to this movie is that I love the fact that there were so many sequences where it was just the monsters, that it was just Kong, and we had like long sequences where there would be no dialogue, it'd just be Kong's expression, and it worked. To me, it worked. I could tell every single like expression that was coming off of him or Zuko or Scar King. Like, I thought those scenes were really well done, and I especially love the moments between Zuko and Kong, especially that moment when Kong offers him some of that giant serpent or whatever. I love that, because like that's just a beautiful shot, and it's like it's a really nice moment too between the two of them. So I really like that scene, and I love the fact that Wingard kind of like expressed that no, we can tell a story with just kaiju. It's possible.
Yeah.
It's just that we still need to have the human element, I guess, or Also, the fact too that I don't know, monster noises can get kind of annoying after about an hour. So if it's just them grunting and growling the entire runtime, you might be like, it's like, all right.
Well, we could have had them talking like Godzilla and Geras did.
No.
No.
If they started talking like that, I would have walked out. I've been like, no.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
No, I would not have been able to go with that. I would have been like, no, stop. Put up speech bubbles instead. Put up subtitles instead, actually. Have each crowd represent a different subtitle. I'd be fine with that. But I like that. I agree. I do like the fact that in this one, Godzilla was just entirely on site. Like any monster that he came across, he was like, all right, cool. You're dead. I'm going to kill you. You're next. I got shit to do.
Yeah, that's what we sent out yesterday in the group.
I like that fact because like it reminded me a lot of the Heisei Godzilla because he kind of acted the same way.
Yeah.
Where he was like, what the hell are you doing? This is my city. I'm supposed to be destroying this, not you. And then start like killing the other kaiju. So I kind of like that fact. Kong was really cool. I thought Scar King was actually a better villain than I thought he was going to be. He is like, I think he carries a lot of personality with him, so I like that fact. Shimo was cool. I like her design. But to me, neither of them like went up to the level of King Ghidorah. Like King Ghidorah is still like the top villain, I think, in the MonsterVerse.
Yeah,
like, even I thought Mechagodzilla was more of a threat than both of them.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I thought Mechagodzilla was more of a threat than
like I was more intimidated by Mechagodzilla like staring at the camera and like doing that laugh after he like shot his beam than I ever was with Scar King and Shimo.
Yeah.
Scar King I was mostly just laughing at. I'm like, because the way he like walks up to Kong like this is like, man, what you doing in my crib, blood? What you doing here? this ain't your turf. What you doing? I love too when he like looks at Kong's like metal tooth and he just starts laughing at him. Like he's like, "You little punk, you had human help. Look at you."
The swagger was great.
Exactly. He's like, "Look at this man. This guy is funny." Yeah, but I like that. I like all the action scenes in this too. But again. With Mothra, this is where I think I kind of get into my negatives. With Mothra, it was cool to see Mothra. I love that Mothra was there. I love that she helped with the battle. It was just, I think the way that they brought her back was a little bit contrived and a little bit odd. Because I was like, okay, so what? She just like materializes out of thin air? What happened to the egg that we saw like hinted at the Kingdom Monsters? I'm like, what the hell happened to the egg? I'm like, where's that at? Why'd you not use the egg to just do that?
Where are the twins?
Exactly. Where are they? Like when they like, how come they're not showing up? But that was weird. Also, I think Mothra could have helped out a lot more in the final battle. Like, how come she didn't go to Rio with them? Like, how cool would that have been if she was like flying around and she like grabbed Godzilla or something like that and just like tossed him in the Shimo, like this, like helped them out or something. Like, come on, you have Mothra, use her.
She might have been still fighting the other.
That's true. She could have been fighting the other apes that might have survived the fall. But I don't have a problem with it being like a Kong focused film because I do like Kong, but at the same time, like if you're gonna call it Godzilla X Kong, you need to put Godzilla in it a bit more than just what he was given. Like you need to have a little bit more screen time with him. And honestly, with the final battle, I thought the fight in the anti-gravity was way better than like the fight in Rio. Like I was actually like having fun in like the anti-gravity fight because that's something we've never seen before. We've never seen Godzilla like fight in like somewhere that had like zero gravity in it.
Well, his water battles are kind of like that.
Yeah, that's true. And also one other thing too that I think they totally missed out. Why didn't they do the flipping drop kick when he was in anti-gravity? It was right there.
Or use the atomic breath.
That should have been in there.
You could have had him like shoot his atomic breath to like propel himself back at Shimo. So that way we get him flying with the atomic breath and we get the drop kick. So we combine both of them in one scene. They didn't do that. I was like, damn it. I was kind of upset about that.
What they needed to have was
they gave him a suplex.
2 breath attacks going at each other.
Yeah, they could have done that too. Did they do that? I don't really think they did. They just had Shimo like shoot her ice breath, and then Godzilla froze up, and then he broke. But they never did a beam struggle again.
Yeah.
Come on, man! You have it. You have it right there. Do it. Go insane. Why aren't you fully embracing it? Like I just didn't understand that.
Yeah. I definitely wanted the beam struggle between those two. And Remy, I like the point that you made because this I initially thought the movie once I figured out that Mothra was gonna be in the film, I thought the last battle was going to take all three of them to defeat Shimu.
Yeah.
That's what I originally thought. But Mothra, to me, it was good to see Mothra, but I did think she was out of place a little bit in this film. Because like I said, when you go back to King of the Monsters, I don't know, this Mothra and King of the Monsters, they have different feels, like different vibes, right? Like Mothra and King of the Monsters felt more of like a fighter, more of an intimidator. This one in Godzilla and Kong the New Empire, she was more majestic, had a more majestic feel, but which was still, she was still beautiful, still gorgeous, but at the same time, it did feel like she was out of place. And then the thing with Scar King is actually pretty cool. And he did something that was funny and so cool. Before he even jumps down, he does like this really cool lean. But everybody in my theater started laughing when he was doing it. But he kind of just stood up and leaned a little bit. And I thought that was really cool. He's got a lot of personality to him. And I actually like him. And like I said, sir, and I go back what you said, Serge, we don't know much about Shimu because she doesn't have we didn't get to see her personality on display. We didn't get to see her stand on her hind legs to see how much bigger she was than Godzilla. Now we saw how big she was on four legs compared to Godzilla, but her standing up would have been really, really amazing. And
then also, I think the other thing with her is that a lot of stuff was said prior to the movie. Oh, like she's the mother of all Titans, but I don't really know that she was like introduced like that, or like
I didn't even
if no one would have ever said anything before the movie,
right,
you would have never have known through the movie.
Yeah. And I agree with Trey too. I wanted to see that last fight. I wanted Godzilla and Kong to be on the brink of almost losing their life.
Yeah,
that would have been amazing. And then, like I told y'all in the group, Remy, Serge, and DJ, like that line that was in the trailer, I didn't hear in the movie where Godzilla and Kong were both afraid. Like I didn't even hear that.
Yeah,
so I was like,
but like what you're going off down on, like I think it would have been more interesting if they made Shimo like a villain instead of just being a victim. Like how interesting would it be if Shimo was the one in charge and Scar King was just like her like lackey, and like imagine the final battle that like when Scar King loses to Godzilla and Kong, she's the one that like fully kills him and freezes him up and just like stomps him out, and then she's like, all right, fine, you two, bring it, let's go, and then she fights Godzilla and Kong, and that's when like you get like the big finale, and that you could practically just decimate Rio at that point, like just get rid of it entirely. Like,
and I love Shimu's design, by the way. I love her design, by the way. She had a pretty cool design. And I will say Shimu and Scar King, especially Scar King, his introduction was fire. His introduction was amazing. Yes. I gotta give him credit for that. That was dope how he came in.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. Trey, I'm coming back to you, my brother. Name 3 of your favorite Titans in this film and 3 of your least favorite Titans in this film.
Godzilla, Mothra, Kong, easily my favorites.
Okay.
It's hard because I like Scar King, but I don't. It's the hype behind him. I'm like, okay, let down. Scar King, bad. Shimo, bad. And they hate this. Zuko, bad. What was it there for? What was he there for?
Which Titan, Zuko or Scar King? Zuko.
What's he there for?
He was there to let Kong beat the other apes with him.
To sell toys.
There it is. Just the same reason why Godzilla.
He's literally the freaking Grogu of the MonsterVerse now.
Exactly. That's the same. Why you ask like why Godzilla had to go purple?
Yeah. I mean,
It
he's
was
better
black
than what it is.
they had someone who was already blue. The enemy's gonna be blue, so we gotta have a different color and toy cells.
Dang.
Which, yes, it did work.
Kyle,
Yeah.
what about you, brother? Name your 3 favorite Titans in this film and your 3 least favorite Titans from this film.
Oh boy. I would say 3 of my favorites. Scar King. If one, the reason I love him because he is the embodiment of dark side of humanity, and he represents dictatorship that still sometimes goes on throughout human history, and that's what Scar King represents. Shimo was one of my favorites. She reminded me of Titanosaurus because both of them are like controlled by the villain, and they are basically the victim. And I feel like she reminds me of a Gogonopsids from the prehistoric time because she does have the body of a Gogonopsid, but with a Godzilla design.
Right.
Third, I would have to say Tiamat, but if you probably heard or some of you might forget, Tiamat first appeared in Godzilla Dominion, which was in the prequel to GBK, which was really interesting to see. Like, why she's like definitely like the Manda of the MonsterVerse, and definitely considered.
I like that, Kyle.
My unleashed favorite, I might say, the War Dogs. They look almost like a mix between a warthog and African wild dogs. That this is so unnecessary. They should really be part of. I feel like they should be in Skull Island instead of the Hollow Earth. Second unleashed favorite, I would say. I would say Skill Up because she was in there like for a short period of time. I feel like this is quite understandable why she just like. I remember seeing Godzilla Dominion that she didn't want to follow Godzilla's rules.
Yeah.
And my third unleashed favorite, I might have to pick. I would say maybe that frog that mimicked Kong's voice. That was very unnecessary to add a frog. You should really make like a gigantic frog instead of like a normal frog.
Nah, that was cool. That was a pretty good input, Kyle. I like that. Serge, I'm coming to you, brother. Name your 3 favorite Titans in this film and your 3 least favorite Titans in this film.
Okay. And so I disappeared there for a sec. My laptop was dying and I couldn't find the charger. I found it. Okay, so my favorite, I mean, that's pretty easy. It's Godzilla, Kong, and Scar King, because Scar King. 3 least?
What about Doug?
Man,
That's all right.
who cares about Doug?
Honorable mention of a bad character.
Trey.
Wait, what was that, Trey?
What'd you say, Trey?
Honorable mention of a bad character. Doug.
Dude, just had a freaking cameo.
Oh boy.
I mean, those dog things were ugly, but I mean, and one got torn up. That was fine.
Yeah.
That's the part of the movie where I might have to shield my daughter's eyes. But 3 worst? Okay, so I'll just say it as in I'm gonna put Shimu in there just because I wanted more Shimu.
Okay.
And also because I remember I said the one comment that I made after I saw the movie was I feel like they ran out of CGI money when they got to Shimu. Because I just felt like the mother of the Titans doesn't even look like she fits in visually very well. Like Godzilla looks amazing. Kong looks amazing. Like, everybody looks amazing. And then Shimu looks like they just ran out of money. I wanted more war bats. I like the war bats.
Yeah, they could
The electric thingies. The electric flying thingies. Like what?
the birds, whatever they were called.
Yeah, they look like
Oh,
banshee.
those ugly turkey things. Those
Oh.
ugly. I can't stand those guys. Like you, come on, man. Like you can do something better than that. Like, okay, yeah, put those guys on the list. Yeah,
Yeah.
never mind the
You just
electric
made
flying.
them bats.
Shimu for, losing money, and then the turkey things because they're just ugly. And I like Zuko, even though there was a few times he looked a little dopey, but that's all I got. It's like 2.5.
Okay, no, that's fine. I will say one of the monsters I did like. It thoroughly showed them that one of those monsters that Kong fought that was in the water when him and Zuko was drinking the water.
Mhm.
I enjoyed that monster as well. DJ, name your 3 favorite Titans from Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire, and your least 3 favorite Titans in this film.
3 favorite: Godzilla, Kong, and Shimu.
Okay.
And then least favorite is kind of like what Serge was saying. Kind of the cannon fodder ones, the mob kaiju. I know that they're supposed to represent the wild animals and everything, but
The tree.
Oh, I forgot about the tree.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything.
Well, it was nice to shut the guy up finally, but
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah.
but yeah, I did. I thought that those pterodactyl pelican bird things were, just kind of weird and convenient. Like, oh yeah, they fly in a pack, and everybody knows to stay away from them because they generate electricity. It's like, okay. So the dogs were kind of lame, and then that frog. The air pocket thing just blew up so much, and it just like laying on top of it before it burped and sounded like Kong again.
Yeah, I thought it was Kong at first, and then it was him. I was like,
Kong, when he gave it that look, it's like, damn it. like whatever.
All right, Remy, I'm gonna come to you. Name your 3 favorite Titans in this film, and your least 3 favorite Titans in this film.
Well, first one is going to be, of course, Godzilla. Like, doy. Second was going to be Kong. Third would be Scar King, and then honorable mention for me would be Mothra.
Okay.
In terms of least favorite, I would have to say the War Dogs, because I thought they just kind of looked very generic. I was like, no, they could have done better with the design, but it's whatever. They're fodder, so it doesn't really matter with them.
That's where the money went.
Yeah, exactly. I thought Tiamat was all right. I think they could have done a little bit better with her. I thought they could have maybe had her fight with Godzilla just go on a tiny bit longer, but they didn't. I still like the design, but I think she was just poorly utilized. And then third would probably have to be maybe some of the minion apes that Scar King had. Sir, if you want to talk about no budget or losing budget on Shimo, I thought some of those apes were losing budget for the film. I'm like,
no,
they had
bad hair.
Yeah, that ugly one.
There's always ugly extras.
Yeah, it literally looked like one of the orcs from Lord of the Rings. Some of the apes. I was just like, wow, they did not. I'm like, these apes are kind of looking a little bit fake here. Yeah.
I will say, I think Tiamat. I really like her design. Her layer was cool. I think Tiamat should have been saved more of a Godzilla-centered film to give her a little more time a little more shine. Yeah. Even though I enjoyed her in the film, I definitely enjoyed it in the film.
You know what they should have had her do? They should have had her submit after a little while, so we could save her for the next movie.
Yeah.
All right, my bad. Take the Lair. Take it.
Godzilla's
It's all yours, bro. I'm gonna go over here.
Nah, that would have been cool. Trey, I'm coming back to you, brother.
Mhm.
Were you satisfied with the human element in this film? If so, who were your favorite characters and why?
They're okay. They really. I love Bernie. I love him. Love his attitude about everything. Like, oh, I got no credit for everything that happened, and still sitting in there and running my podcast. I love Gia, and I love her connection with Kong. Everything else too. I thought that was great that they carried over from the last movie, and that's about it. Everybody else is there. What's his name? Trainer. He's
Yeah,
okay.
Trapper.
Trapper. Yeah, Trapper. He's okay.
Yeah, Trapper. Yeah, Trapper was okay. And Trey, you're going back to see this film Friday, right?
Yeah, I am. So I'll be able to catch more again because
Okay.
I try to you try to catch everything. So I'm looking for all the Easter eggs too while listening to characters. So probably get a better appreciation for the second time.
Okay, yeah. Let us know what you think the second go round when you watch it. I'm curious to hear some more thoughts from you to see exactly what you think. Because I enjoyed it the second time more than I did the first time. I mean, I like the film, by the way. But the second time I went and watched it and viewed it, I was like, oh, okay, I still enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it a little bit more. So that was cool. Kyle, I'm coming to you, brother. Were you satisfied with the human element in this film? If so, who was your favorite character and why?
They're pretty much like the same, but I really wish they would maybe do a little more character development. But I
Okay.
feel like at least the I would say the three are Trapper, Bernie, and Gia. I think Trapper and Bernie have like a brother or bromance relationship. But to me personally, I think of Trapper as like the Steve Irwin / Chris Pratt version of the MonsterVerse. That's why I kind of view them as like, because I love Steve Irwin as a kid because he does remind me of that, and he kind of like steals the entire movie. Gia is still pretty good. She's really, really, really. I feel like she somehow is like maybe the kaiju whisperer and able to communicate with all the other Titans, just like she did with Mothra and Godzilla and Kong. Kong mostly, but I feel like this is her first time she ever communicate with Godzilla with her mind, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, and I love that her showing up in Egypt, and also that was another cool thing. Kong and Godzilla having a brief meeting again. Godzilla just straight up doing a suplex on him was like one of the most amazing things
WWE.
I saw in the film. Like Godzilla was like, "Bruh, look, check this out. I don't care nothing about what you're talking about." And if I was Kong, you know what I would have did? I would have ran straight to that portal and jumped in it. Godzilla was so mad. Godzilla probably would have jumped in there right behind him.
Nah, Godzilla should have done an RKO right after. He should have grabbed Kong's head and just went.
Oh yeah. Where's Jim Ross when you need him?
Right. Serge, were you satisfied with the human element in this film? If so, who was your favorite characters and why?
Definitely more so than other MonsterVerse movies because they slim down the cast of main characters. I feel like that works much better in the MonsterVerse because if you think about it, that's kind of how the way it is with most Godzilla movies. Apart like to the ones where you get like the military involved and like there's a bunch more people in. Yeah, definitely the slim down cast was much better. You could focus more individually on the characters themselves. I'll be honest, I was never really a Dr. Andrews fan. I don't know if I always felt like her most important lines were always very forced, like as an actor. Kong bows to no one, like that kind of crap. Then I don't know. I guess I was just never a fan of her acting, whatever. But when she strayed away from being more of a mother than a scientist, that's when I started to like her. That's when she kind of won me over. And I feel like her acting was just better when she was acting like a mom. And so that's towards the end, I really liked her. G was great. I give her props. She didn't even say anything, and she was good. And then, but yeah, the bromance, dude. Like, I felt that. That was great. It was just fun. Like, you could literally have Monarch Legacy of Monsters could just be them two, and I would be happy.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll be excited.
I think it might happen.
I'll watch anything with those two. Like, they were great. Trapper just has that real like laid back kind of. What did I likened him to somebody? Steve Irwin's a good one. And then, yeah, they just worked really well together. Their chemistry was just really good. The long hugs, those were funny. Yeah, those were funny. Yeah, again, I think it just worked so much better that the human element of the movie was smaller. The cast was smaller. You could focus more individually on the characters, and they had a little bit more time to shine like that. Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay. All right, Remy. I'm coming to you, brother, again, last but not least. Were you satisfied with the human element in this film? Oh, sorry, DJ. I apologize, brother. I'm tripping.
That's all right. I see how it is.
Wow.
DJ, I'm high.
DJ's like,
Wow.
nah.
Sorry, DJ, I apologize for you. I'm sorry.
see how it is.
The man, the myth, and the legend, DJ. There we go. Were you satisfied with the human element in this film? If so, who were your favorite characters and why, brother?
Yeah, I thought the human presence wasn't as intrusive as it's been in the past. Felt that they were, really there to just kind of help explain what was going on. Keep the story kind of going along and stuff. Again, I wish I could have followed what Gia was saying so I could have understood her development through the movie.
So in Spanish, who is the best?
So I'll definitely make sure I see the right screening when the next time I go.
DJ saw it in Spanish.
Well, I mean, the dialogue was in English. It was just subtitled in Spanish. So,
oh god,
yeah.
Oh boy.
I did like the dynamic between Benny and Trapper. I know some people were turned off by Trapper, but
Why?
I found his character, like Serge was saying, like Steve Irwin. He's just, that him and the Doctor had a past with each other, and he just embraced the craziness of the world that they've discovered. Because at some point in their past there was no kaiju, and then all of a sudden there is, and so it's like, okay, we got to deal with this. And he's just like, I want to have fun while I'm doing it. So, and he wasn't like a tool. He actually had skills and stuff. He was the one that sensed or noticed things that were out of place when they were exploring and tried to warn them and everything. And, so I appreciate that aspect of him, that he wasn't just the dentist, or the comedy relief. He actually did serve a purpose. So, yeah. So like I said, I thought that the human part of it, just kind of pushed things along. And, if I had to be disappointed about one thing, it was the fact that Gia didn't find her twin. when she met up
Yeah.
with the others.
I thought
There it
that's
is.
what they were hitting
Yeah.
at with they like
Good point.
when the queen stepped out. I thought because they had her like blurry most of that time, so I was like wondering like is that supposed to be like her twin? Is that going to be like a grown up version of herself or
Dude,
something?
that's
Yeah.
what I thought.
But then
Yeah.
they didn't do that. I'm like, do I need to
So-
write this movie? Do I need to go and write a
that-
start doing
Well,
rewrites?
that would have been
twins
awesome.
in the other movie. So
And another cool thing to see was just Kong having those human-like element and quality because he had the tooth that was bothering him. I thought that was really cool. Even him taking the shower under the waterfall, I thought that was pretty cool. So no, Kong had some really, really awesome elements in the film. And Bernie, when he was recording and Trapper was in his way, he was like really
Like, are you
Yeah.
serious?
my boy trying to record, man. He trying to see what's up.
And I just loved how
you
Kong was
point out-
like,
When
when
you point
Godzilla
out-
was charging at him, he's like, wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, you little motherfucker! I gave you a warning.
Right, Godzilla swim
Like,
across,
wait.
Godzilla swim across the country to get hands on him.
Yeah.
Oh, he
I love
died.
that jump.
He
I love
dived for
jump Godzilla did too. He was like, okay, here we go. It
that
literally
was
looked
cool.
like out of '98 where he like jumped off the cliff. He just seemed like slow.
Hey, when he jumped off that cliff, I gave him a 10. I gave him a 10.
That dive was straight out of versus Megaguirus.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, that and when you point out the tooth, it was based on Adam Wingard's tooth situation on Kong. I forgot to mention that because
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, he had like a bad toothache, and so he had to get it removed. And so that way he thought he might put that on Kong. Like he had like a big tooth problem.
Damn, not just the cat. Jeez.
Yeah, Godzilla sleeping in that Coliseum was awesome too.
And yeah, that was in the novelization. Godzilla viewed the Colosseum as like his old temple. If you don't know that, that's what he kind of
Man,
used.
if they make it, that'll be the first X Plus figure I buy. If they do something like that, it's over.
Yeah, Trey
Well,
was talking about it yesterday.
yeah,
This the director of this movie and Godzilla -1, there's a report about them talking with each other. Both of them were inspired by their cats for Godzilla's actions.
Yeah, I heard that.
Wow.
Kashi.
That to me is hilarious. That to me is so funny.
And
Yeah.
it also shows the creativity side of that as well. To take something like that and then create a version of Godzilla just taken from your cat. It's so creative. It's so cool.
I would have just based Godzilla off myself. I would have been.
Wow.
What would Godzilla do
Wow.
in this situation? Well, he'd probably punch them.
Remy, coming to you, brother. Were you satisfied with the human element in this film? If so, who was your favorite characters and why?
Yeah, no, I agree with Surge when he said that I thought too that it was a good thing that they actually trimmed down the cast to like just one like main group of humans, because that way like not only was it like better for us to just focus on those characters instead of like worrying about another group of human cast, but also the fact that it was just settled on them, so that way when their scenes were done, we could just immediately go back to the monsters.
Yeah.
All right, well, their scenes are done. Let's go back to let's go back to Kong. What's he up to right now? But I like that. And yeah, I really did like Trapper and Bernie. I thought they were the best characters in the movie, honestly, especially Trapper. Like I just love the fact that Trapper kind of reminded me of what's the word? He kind of reminded me of like Chris Pratt from Jurassic World. And I love that moment too, where like he's just like randomly eating like banana chips, and he's like giving Bernie this like good old philosophy, like what are you gonna do at a recording? Like you have to realize that almost every single like little society that's like interlocked with that's like connected with the outside world doesn't really seem to last that long. So I kind of like that while he's eating banana chips, which is just funny to me. And I do like the fact that he actually helped out in Final Battle too. Like he brought the electric birds to like buy some time before Godzilla and Kong came through the portal. So that gave him a little bit of like use in the movie. And I did like Gia's storyline too, because I did like Gia from Godzilla versus Kong. So I like that her story actually progressed. And that's another thing too. I like the fact that there's actually some continuity with this movie and the last one. Because like, I like the fact that they have returning characters rather than just like creating new characters all the time. Because then you're just like, oh, so I guess the characters that I actually
Yeah, you lose the continuity.
on now. So I like that fact. So yeah, that was my take on human characters. I think, yeah, like a majority, they're okay, but I thought they were a lot better utilized here than they were in GVK.
Yeah, and like I said, cutting the cast down, it was great, and I thought all the cast members were good. And I got two more questions, but I'm gonna ask them in one because I know everybody on different time zones, so don't want to overkeep anybody. But I think one of the funniest things I've seen in that movie, and sir, I'm with you. I wish I would have saw more of an interaction with Godzilla and Scar King, but when Godzilla started charging up his atomic breath, Scar King did a cartwheel. He was doing his best to get out the way of that atomic breath. He did not want to be hit by that. I mean, he was just flipping.
He got hit once.
Yeah, he got hit a little on the shoulder like Kong did.
So, like, I wonder what would happen to Kong and Scar King if they got the full effect of that atomic breath, because he partially hit Kong, and then, like I say, he partially hit Scar
You
King
see
in
a
the film.
big hole.
Yeah, it really looked like something out of an anime finisher, just like a big hole right in the chest, and just like you think.
You ever see Kung Pao? Remember the guy he punches the hole in? Be like that. Just a big gaping hole all the way through.
Yeah. Except they would still be standing like this. Gun. That's nothing. Like, dude, you have a hole in your chest. You should be dead. Stop talking.
Trey, I want to come to you. I got two questions for you, brother. The first question is, did this film live up to your expectations? If so, would you like to see a trilogy? Well, actually, I got three questions for you. That was two questions. And then the follow-up question with that is, what's on your MonsterVerse wish list? Meaning, if they progress, what would you like to see going forward?
Okay. Like everything for me lived up to the hype except the ending.
Okay.
I really was disappointed with not the fight per se, but just the ending of how kill Scar King. That's it. It's done. I still do want to progress. I would like the trilogy, but maybe a two-part trilogy. Let's do Kong in the Hollow Earth. Let's have an enemy come down there, and let's just call that King Kong. Let's go ahead, give him that title, and then let's do something with Godzilla, with something else from space, I guess, because that's the only other place we can go to now. Because everything on Earth, now you have a new form too, doesn't stand a chance. So we need another space monster. I'm not saying Space Godzilla.
I'll take it.
I don't want him. I really don't, because I like that. How you gonna explain it? How you gonna explain Space Godzilla now? No. The other one we had a storyline, so it's gotta be some reason for Godzilla in space for it to happen. Maybe finally create something new that is big, that is vicious, that is gonna push Godzilla to the brink. But like, I'm a fan of Super Godzilla, so I'm always up for Big N to show up at some point in time.
Okay. No, that's a good deal. I definitely agree with you. The movie lived up, like I said, to the hype for me. There's no perfect movie, so of course this movie has its flaws. But when you talk about the monster action, I love the fact that it's a good balance between the monsters, and it's a good balance between the humans. And Remy, on this slideshow is something that really cool that I think is really underrated in this film. I ain't gonna say underrated, but I just pay attention to everything. But I love the fact that Scar King took that whip and wrapped it around that building. I thought that was cool. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Another thing I thought was cool when Shimu was charging at Kong and Godzilla came straight through the building. Like, nah, we still got to fight. I got you, Kong. I got you, bro.
That was kind of a reference.
Godzilla turned dark purple. I really like that.
Yeah. It was kind of like a callback to GVK, where Kong kind of like had Godzilla's back with Mechagodzilla, where Mechagodzilla was going to do the kiss of death, and then Kong jumped on his back and then brought his head up. It was kind of like that, where it was like, all right, fine, here. This is like, I'm indebted to you for what you did to me. All right, fine, here, I'll save you from Shimo. Come here.
No, that was good. That was good. Kyle, what about you? Did this movie live up to your expectations? If so, would you like to see a trilogy? And what's on your MonsterVerse wish list?
Oh man, I had to say I kind of like the movie, but I
Okay.
just feel like they do a lot of visual effects, and I think Adam Wingard, just kind of put a lot of too much CG into this movie, because that's why I kind of feel like that's what he did. But I definitely would. I don't mind a trilogy. I just think maybe just for one more, if the MonsterVerse will give him a chance, if he ever wanted to make the last chapter, just like what Tree said, like maybe just part 1 and part 2, and then maybe the next future MonsterVerse we might actually get a different director, maybe Steven Spielberg or Christopher Nolan. We would definitely like to have those guys who are very, very creative.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
And I hope maybe we get like maybe some other Japanese actors for cameos from past kaiju films.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, maybe we could add a little bit of maybe some of the cast from the live action Attack on Titan to be for a cameo. So,
I like that, Kyle.
Yeah, that's definitely what I really want maybe for the next MonsterVerse to be. But definitely try to get some little Toho monsters. Maybe Gamma and Gauss would definitely come in if they did. And last but not least, perhaps I would definitely like to see Damijin. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
But we want it to be a little bit original.
Yeah, Damijin, that's my guy, man. I like that. Kyle, I like that, man. That was really interesting take, brother. I like that. Serge, did this movie live up to your expectations? If so, would you like to see a trilogy? And what is on your MonsterVerse wish list?
I would say yes. When I watch a movie, I'm just a fan watching a movie. I don't. Sure, I will. I don't want to say criticize, but think about things a little bit more in depth after I watch the movie. Did it deliver as far as entertainment and excitement for a Godzilla fan? Yes, for me, yes, it did. Like I said before, what it was missing was a little bit more of the first name of the movie, which was Godzilla, and not necessarily in, we showed off his power, we showed off his strength. I mean, hell, even at the end, Shimu looked like, holy, when Godzilla's blasting the sky to turn around, which nothing that was explained to us, right? But yeah, I mean, it was a blast, and I'm excited to go see it again a second time. I just feel like, I guess this plays into my. What was the second part of the question?
What's on your MonsterVerse wish list?
Okay, so basically everything that I wish was in this movie, which was basically, like I said, I feel like you can show a little bit more of Godzilla in depthly if you want to. I feel like we could have explored, had we had the time in this movie, explored a little bit more of Godzilla's history with Mothra, because we don't see too much interaction between them other than when she comes to split the battle between Godzilla and Kong. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of that, a little bit more background into that, flashbacks. I don't know, just something that, 2014, and I think particularly King of the Monsters was good at showing Godzilla as a character and not just a destroyer, kind of like how he was in this movie. Now that was great, but I think you can do a little bit more. But of course, again, this movie was a little bit more Kong. And I know Adam Wingard already said it, that if he's allowed to do the next movie, it will be a little bit more Godzilla centric. And I mean, of course, I would love that. And I think that's the chance to go a little bit more in depth into Godzilla's story, because he does have a story. He does miss his old home, which is why he's going to the Roman Coliseum. He does remember Sarazawa, if you read the comics, right? There's a lot to showcase with him, and I think you can do that in the next one. That's definitely my wish list. My wish list as far as a villain would be, we've covered space, Ghidorah. We've covered, I think you do more with space, right? But we've covered a mecha. I think the next, for me, my wish list would be to cover the next area, which would be genetic mutations. So a Biollante of sorts.
Yes.
That'd be my favorite Godzilla movie. Now it doesn't have to be the plant, that we know from Heisei. It could be a genetic, mutation of, we got King Ghidorah cells on the planet. We probably have Godzilla cells. Hell, maybe that's what it is. A flying King Ghidorah Godzilla. I don't know. But maybe explore that. Like that would be nuts. That sounds like a threat. That sounds like a threat to me.
Yeah,
yeah. And I know we saw them wings on something that looked like Godzilla on them cave paintings, right? Give us something like that. That would definitely be my wish list, to just explore Godzilla and more because he's the king of the monsters. He's been around even longer than King Kong. He does have a story, so why not tell it?
Man, that was good, Serge. I like that. No, it's good deal. DJ, I'm coming to you, brother. Did this movie live up to your expectations? If so, would you like to see a trilogy? And what's on your MonsterVerse wish list?
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I expected to go in and have fun. I did, so not really any disappointment there. Yeah, I know I kind of commented in our group chat before that, I'm not sure where they could go with it exactly, but I would definitely like to see, something to kind of finish it up. I kind of agree with Serge that they could do, they had that, the group at the King of the Monsters that was, trying to control the kaiju and stuff like that. So why couldn't there be a scientist that's been, following these battles and gathering cell samples from, the skin and stuff that's breaking off in the battles and everything, and mix them all together to create, something, unnatural to the world. I could also see the possibility, since they have an introduction of portals and things like that, I could see like an alternate universe Godzilla coming through, and that being the equivalent of like Space Godzilla. Like a pure evil one that's already conquered his world, and now he found a way into ours, and he's ready to just wipe out humanity again.
That's some Dragon Ball Z stuff right there, DJ.
No, I like that, DJ.
I'm down, DJ.
I'm down for that though too. That sounds interesting.
No, that is awesome. And I think another thing that I would like to see in the MonsterVerse, because Godzilla does have a story, but I will say this: Charles Dance has a story too, and I want him to be, because we don't know what happened to him after King of the Monsters. He was still alive. He had Ghidorah's head, so I think that would make sense for even him to come back, and maybe he be behind. Maybe he's watching and studying everything they've been doing with these Titans, and he comes up with something to enhance these Titans and to try to take over the world. Just something like that. But I would definitely like to see him back in the MonsterVerse.
That's what I was going to mention.
Yeah. What if Alan Jonah like somehow creates like Destroya?
Oh,
not yet.
Yeah, imagine if he like imagine if his plan is to create Destroya, to be like, all right, since it didn't work last time to get rid of humanity, let's create Destroya to get rid of humanity. And Destroya's just like, you fool, I'm gonna get rid of all of you. Yeah. All of you are dead, including you. Like literally, like a Frankenstein story where he literally like he's like, I'm gonna murder all your mothers. You're dying.
Remy, did this movie live up to your expectations? If so, would you like to see a trilogy? And what is on your MonsterVerse wish list, brother?
So expectations, I would say, yeah, I think it met most of my expectations. Like with the exception of the battles. I thought the battles were fun. I thought they were really cool. I just thought the fights could have, if I was the director, I just would have made the fights a little bit longer, especially the one in Rio. Like I would have changed that a bit. But yeah, no, I think it met all of my expectations about it being like an American version of a show film, and I thought they did that pretty well with this movie. So I'm glad that it met my expectations on that. And yeah, I'd probably be down for a trilogy with Wingard because I think it would actually be because like so far I've enjoyed the 2 movies he's made. And I think that if he focuses on Godzilla, that would be interesting to see his perspective on Godzilla's character. Because I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, it would. That would be awesome.
Yeah. But honestly, to me, I would actually be cool. I think it would actually be pretty cool if we got Jordan Vogt-Roberts to come back and actually make a Godzilla movie. Because like I really liked what he did with Skull Island, so I'd be pretty fascinated to see what he would do with a Godzilla storyline instead.
Skull Island is fire.
Yeah. And then in terms of like what I want for the future of the MonsterVerse, I think space. I think honestly, I don't think Space Godzilla. I think bring in a more popular kaiju. Like I think bring in Gigan. Bring him in. Bring Megalon in.
Wow.
Imagine if the next movie is like they bring in Gigan and Megalon in, and Godzilla's just like, oh crap, like he can't take both of them on, and then you have Anguirus show up, and you're like, you get the 4 battle this time, so it's kind of like a remake of Godzilla versus Gigan, except King Ghidorah's replaced with Megalon, and you got Anguirus fighting Megalon instead. Like, I would like to see that. I think that'd be pretty cool. I want more Toho kaiju. I want to see Godzilla get more development. I want to see Kong develop. I would actually want to see a kind of bond or like a friendship form between Mothra and Kong. I actually think that would be really interesting to see between the two.
Good.
And like one other thing too that like they have to bring him in, but I would love to see freaking Jet Jaguar show up in the MonsterVerse.
Yes, I do.
Please, you have to bring him in. It's literally just make him a Jaeger and you're good. We're done.
Well, then we need King Caesar then too.
Yeah.
Yes, we need King Caesar. Well, Caesar is easy.
I would like to see King Caesar actually more in a Kong movie than Godzilla. I think that would be awesome.
Yes.
I would actually like to see, like, going off with you, Donald, I would actually like to see King Caesar start off as like an opponent to Kong, but then in the movie, Kong actually like Kong doesn't kill him. He actually senses good in Caesar, so he's just like, so he spares him, and that kind of earns Caesar's respect from Kong, and that way you have them ally.
Yeah, that would be really, really cool and amazing. Trey, since you're our guest today, brother, do you have any final thoughts, man?
I want to know what the kaiju bridge thing was, where Kong and Suko walk across that giant kaiju spine.
Hell yeah.
What is like? You said Shima was big. This thing is clearly much larger. What is that? That's why I really want to know that. I agree with you, Jet Jaguar, because they got that kaiju hunter from the comics that they did. I'm like, look, we got Mechagodzilla at one point in time. We got the kaiju hunter. Let's get Jet Jaguar in here. The more I think about it, I think Dagon skeletons out there still too. So what happened with Dagon, y'all? I mean, we know what happened, but there's clearly more Godzilla at one point in time. So I'd be happy to see that too.
No, that's an interesting take, a really, really interesting point. Man, well, we're getting ready to close down. Everybody who watched, everybody who supported us tonight, we greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We did actually move our schedule from every Thursday to every other Thursday at 8:00 p.m. Central Time. So if you guys want to catch the Sci-Fi Nerds, it'll be every 2 weeks, which it works out better for everybody. Kyle, thank you for being on once again, brother. Like I said, we're big on gratitude, so we definitely appreciate you for being a participant. Same thing with you, Trey. Finally glad to have you on. Finally glad to meet you. And it was awesome talking kaiju with you, man. So, hopefully we can have you back. Hopefully we can have you back in the future. So we got
hey, Trey.
Don't you bring that turtle up in this conversation.
I'll try not to.
See, Godzilla train, none of my comments was popping up on my end, so I'm just now seeing this. He said he needs to watch the film a second time, but so far it's his second favorite film in the MonsterVerse.
Wow. Okay.
No, that was awesome.
Page.
Great
Yeah.
job.
I don't know if I would call. I don't know if I would give it
Appreciate
that
it,
far,
Adrian.
but you know.
Godzilla's fan. I know what you're talking about. My mom sure did. Yeah.
Wow.
I know exactly. I know exactly what he's talking about. But nah, man, this was a really, really fun conversation, man, and we could probably go on and on and on about this. Those who are watching, Trey and Kyle, those who are on, we're actually gonna start doing watch parties for the MonsterVerse films, but that's not gonna start until June. So we're gonna have the opportunity of watching these films together, getting everybody's commentary, getting everybody's reaction, because I always thought it'll be something fun to do and take advantage of this social media, man, because it's a good time to be a Godzilla fan. We had -1. We got the new Empire. So right now, man, we kicking butt, and it's good. It's good that we kicking butt, because when I was growing up, I couldn't really tell everybody I was a Godzilla fan because it was like super nerdy to people. But now I'm out in the open with it, and I love it, man. I definitely enjoy it. But again, I'm glad to have you guys on, and it was fun to be here. So I'm one of the hosts. I am Donald.
I'm Remy.
Remy.
DJ.
Kyle.
Trey.
And we are the Sci-Fi Nerds. Peace out.